Hi folks, Speedway Tag here. I want to show you Naturopolis, which is the third game in the Opolis, if you want to call it that, the Opolis game series from Button Shy, designed by Stephen Aramini, Danny Devine and Paul Kluker. Thanks guys, you've given us fabulous solo games and cooperative games, I guess you could call them as well, with this series. Spent many hours and days enjoying this whole concept. First was Sprawlopolis, which was the urban sprawl theme. Then Agropolis, which is the rural farming kind of theme. And now Naturopolis, which is, of course, nature. So, and in this one, you, just like the other three, and it expands the whole idea to the realm of nature. As I said, cities with Sprawlopolis, farms with Agropolis, and now nature. And this is predominantly, for me, it's a solo game. It's almost a perfect solo game. It's one of the best solo card games I think ever designed, this whole series, and this Naturopolis is a great addition. It's by Button Shy, so it's 18 cards only. So 18 cards provides you with a really rich solo experience here. It's a tile laying game, basically. There's 18 cards. I want to show you one of the expansions today, because there's a lot of videos on Naturopolis already, because it's fairly new. Just briefly, I'll tell you how these games play, and then I'll show you this expansion, which is really cool. But so you take 3 cards out of the 18, and you place them up there. Flip them over, because at the back of every one of these cards is an objective. Okay, so you put the 3 objectives up there. You deal yourself 3 cards into your hand. So normally you'd be holding these cards. And you put 1 in the middle to start your Naturopolis. Okay, and the rest of the deck will wait over there. So 15 cards to play with, 3 objectives. Okay, so what you're doing is you're taking a card from your hand and you're adding it to the sprawl in the middle, and you'll replace the card, and off you go. The cooperative version's pretty much the same. It's just that both of you have cards in your hand and you contribute, but much in the same way. Solo, it's perfect. And so, what are you trying to do as you add cards to the tableau in the middle? You're trying to create groups of the same color blocks. The blue blocks are lakes, the pink blocks are meadows, the grey blocks are mountains, and the green blocks are forests, of course. You'll see roads along there, and you'll see rivers as well. Rivers are an addition to this game. There are no rivers in Sprawlopolis and Agropolis, just roads. Also an addition in Naturopolis, which is really nice. You'll see right there, there are little campsites by the side of the roads and the rivers, and they contribute to your scoring with certain objectives in play. Okay, so you're trying to, first of all, you're trying to create large groups of the same terrain next to each other, because you'll get 1 point for every block of terrain in your largest group. And then also you will minus the amount of roads that you have in after you finish laying down all the cards. You lay down all 15 cards and then you score. So you minus 2 points for every road that is there, because we don't really want roads in our Naturopolis, or at least we want a minimal amount. And so you score like that, but also, and probably most importantly, you score by these game objectives, and each one gives you a different ability to score, okay, a different thing to concentrate on. And so let me just show you how this works. Happy campers, this scoring ability, this objective says you're going to get 2 points per every campsite which is along one river or road of your choice. Driving Daisies is telling me that I'm going to get 2 points for every meadow block, so every pink block that's on my longest road. But I'm going to get negative 1 point for any meadow block that is not on that road. That's a bit of a balancing act there. And Trees in Threes is telling me I'm getting 1 point per a group of forest blocks that are in a group of 3, exactly 3. I'll get 1 point for that. As you can see there, there's a group of 3, that's 1 point. There's a group of 3, that's 1 point. But you'll get negative 1 point for every block that's not part of a group of 3. Very tricky when you've got these negatives coming in on these objectives. Okay, and so as you place your cards into the tableau, you are considering these objectives, trying to work towards those. And remember also, as I said, you'll get 1 point for every block in your largest group of each terrain. So you're obviously trying to get, you know, a nice group of blues together, greens together, pinks together, grays together if you can, and a minimal amount of roads. So for example, how would a turn go? Okay, I'll be thinking about those objectives. Okay, so I'm playing this card. I'm thinking about making groups of terrains. I'm thinking about not making too many roads. And I might come along and think, okay, look at this. Driving daisies is going to get me 2 points for every pink block on a road. And I don't want pink blocks off that road, because they're going to give me a negative 1 point. So I might place this here. You can place on top of an entire card. You can place on top of part of the card, like that. You can place next to, like this. You can't place diagonally. And you can't place underneath. So I might do this. That's a good move, because I'm keeping it to just one road, because remember, -2 for each road. So I'm keeping it to one road. I'm satisfying Driving Daisy's objective there, because I've got both my pink blocks on my longest road. I'm planning this to be the longest road. And there's even a campsite on this road, which might be where I'm going with happy campers, because I choose a river or a road, and I'll get 2 points per campsite on there. And also with trees in threes, I want to get blocks of 3 greens, and this is all set up nicely for a green block to go in there. So that's a pretty good move. Take a card from there, keep going. Okay, maybe I might. Maybe I will try and fill up that third group of 3 here. So I might place that card there. So I've got my group of 3 for trees and threes. So that's 1 point there. I'm building a nice long river here as well, with a campsite on it. So if I choose to score happy campers as a river instead of a road, that's a nice option for me. I do have a problem here though, because I've got a pink block that is not on my longest road. So that's going to be giving me negative points because of the Driving Daisy's objective. You see how this works? You have to think about a lot of things. I'll take another card and add that to my hand, and then what am I going to do next? So at the moment, in terms of getting groups of a largest group of the 4 colors, I've got a nice group of green, I've got a group of pink going on there, and I like to get a couple of groups or a group of mountains and lakes as well if I can. What should I do? Maybe I might look at this. I might take this card and continue building this long road. And I've got a pink block on the road, which means that'll score me points instead of negative points. I've started to create a good block of blue. And I've got another campsite there as well. So I've got some nice options. So see how this starts to build, right? I'll take another card. And this is how all the games go. Naturopolis, Sprawlopolis, Agropolis. I've also got Combopolis, which combines them, but that's too crazy for me to consider at the moment. But this is how they go. You tile lay like this, with your objectives in mind, and it's a lovely experience just to sit back and consider all the amazing strategies. We were just talking about strategies earlier, and just with one objective, the amount of different things you have to think about and plan for to get the most out of those points, it's super fun. So that's in a nutshell how these Opolis games work. They're fantastic solo games. They'd be in my top 5 solo games of all time, maybe even top 3. What score are you going for? Because as I said, you're going to score your biggest groups of colors, and you're going to score those objectives. You're going to minus the roads. What score are you going for? Well, that's settled here as well in a fantastic little system. At the top of each objective, there's a number. You total them up, and that's your target score. So 12 plus 6 plus 1 is 19. And that's what I'm going for. I'm trying to beat 19 points with those particular objectives. As I said, at the back of every card is a different objective, right? So that means that the potential for the different kinds of games you can play with Naturopolis is amazing, because the minute you have 3 other objectives up there, or even one different one, it changes everything in terms of your plans, your motivations for placing things, your strategies, and you can think about this one for hours. We like to actually once we set a group of 3 objectives, we like to keep going until we beat that group. And I tell you, there's one particular group of objectives with Naturopolis that we've tried 30 times now, and we still haven't been able to beat. But I like that. I love when solo games smash me because it keeps me coming back for more. That's basically Naturopolis. But I do want to show you one of the cool little expansions for this game, because I haven't seen too much of this on the internet yet. And that is a 1-card expansion called Nessie, as in the Loch Ness Monster. Okay, there's a little rule book that you get with it. And this is the card. I mean, that looks fantastic, doesn't it? You just want to play with that card. Okay, and the back of the card also gives you the rules of how to play with Nessie. What happens here with Nessie is, once you set up the game, and you've dealt your hand, and you've put out the starting card, Nessie goes into the deck somewhere, okay? It gets shuffled in. The rule is, as soon as Nessie gets drawn, let's say Nessie is the next card to be drawn, okay? So I'll just play one more turn. I might do this. I might do something like, maybe I'll do this for the moment. Okay, just play that there. Or maybe like this. Yeah, I'll play it like that. Okay, because you can cover over. Okay, this is not great here because I've got 2 meadow blocks that are not on my longest road. They're going to be negative for me. Not the greatest move, but I want to get on to showing you what Nessie does. So once you've played a card and you reach for your next card, and it's a Loch Ness Monster, right? You take it, and this card has to be played immediately. So now I have to play Nessie somewhere immediately, okay? And where you play it is you have to be very, very careful, because how do you score Nessie, okay? How do you win with Nessie? Let's have a look at this. How to play. When Nessie is revealed, the active player must immediately place it anywhere on the map. So I have to place the monster now, okay? This card now. At the end of the game, I'm going to get -2 points for every edge of this card that is not connected to a river, okay? So wherever I place this, by the end of the game, I've got to have a river card going in there, going in there, going in there, and going in there. All 4 sides. You have to have all 4, okay? And you'll score 3 points if all 4 edges connect to a river. The threat has been neutralized. And that's the idea. Okay, as you can see on the example there, I've got rivers going, in this example, rivers are going in on 2 sides, but so I don't win the extra 3 points because I haven't got all 4 edges. And I'm going to get -2 points for the sides that don't have rivers going in. Okay, so really to maximize this, you've got to try and get 4 rivers going in the various sides of this. So what if I place Nessie right there? Okay, at least I know I've got 1 river already going in. So this side is taken care of. I draw a card. I might do this. I'm not really thinking much ahead, but now I've got rivers going into 2 sides of the Loch Ness Monster card. If I can get rivers going into those sides as well, I'm going to get those 3 points, and I'm not going to have any negative points. But what I just played there, as you can see, I just concentrated on the Loch Ness Monster card, right? For 2 plays, I've just forgotten completely about my objectives, which I shouldn't really do that. I should be able to manage the threat while still going with my objectives. So I'd take another card, and I think, look, I could easily do that, and there's another river going into Nessie, but that's not a good idea. I've got to keep working on the objectives, expanding my road, getting some campsites on that road or on this river for the sake of happy campers. I've got to make sure I keep getting pink blocks on that road that I've started, and I've got to minimize this huge negative problem by keeping my forest blocks in groups of 3. As you can see already, I've got 1 group of 3, but here's -1, there's -1, there's -1. So for that objective alone, I'm on -2 points. So I've got to get these other forest blocks into groups of 3 somehow. You see, the minute you start concentrating on this too long, you're in trouble. maybe the strategy is, if Nessie's coming out a bit later, hopefully, you can prepare a place for her where with maybe this was prepared and I could sort of slip right in here over there and then cover this part of this card with a river, right, that goes in like this or something like that. So you can prepare for the monster card, but as you can imagine, as you can see, there's so many different strategies and possibilities and variabilities with this game. You throw this monster in here as well and it becomes chaotic, but if you're up for the challenge, I recommend it. Nessie's a great simple one-card expansion for a game that's already great and a series that's already great too. So see if you can grab it. I think it's only $1 or $2. Okay, see you later, guys.